welcome to another episode of the Starter Girls Podcast with your host, Jennifer Loading.
And Brianna Drelas. And together we are the Starter Girls.
That's right. Where extraordinary decisions produce extraordinary results. These are our friends. These are your friends. And they are living the extraordinary. Today's episode is brought to you by Walt Mills, photographer of Glad Models Agency. If you are here in the Dallas or surrounding area and looking for some photography work, check out Walt Mills. You can learn more about him and his photos, him and his work, his photos too, at photosbywalt.com. And additionally, we do want to give a shout out to our additional sponsor, Studio Dallas. Studio Dallas is the best kept secret in the Dallas podcasting world. If you are looking for a studio with top-notch technology, video, audio, recording capabilities, and a production team to make things go smoothly, then the Studio Dallas is the place to be. If you want more information on that, please reach out to us at startergirls@gmail.com.
We also want to invite you to check out our website at startergirlswithaz.com because we have a special gift for you. We want to keep in touch. We want to support you in your life and business beyond the podcast. So go to startergirlswithaz.com and pick up your gift.
Awesome. All right, we got to get things started here.
Boom.
All right, today's a great day to be brave. You might as well start now. You have the power to change your circumstances any day you decide. Let today be that day. Rise up, be amazing, be you, do you. All right, Brianna, I am super excited to welcome our guest to the show today, Chaz Wolfe. All right, so I got to get this bio. It's amazing, like amazing. Whether it was working on a construction site as a kid, cutting grass in the neighborhoods around me, climbing the corporate ladder, or building my multi-million-dollar business, Chaz Wolfe says he has been extremely driven and focused about production, earning money, and how to do more with given talents. He is a high-performing serial entrepreneur, sales professional, and coach. Chaz is known to push the limits of work ethic, mindset, and results. As a dynamic leader, consultant, and speaker, he's helped domestic and international organizations achieve massive growth levels and success.
Wow.
Welcome to the Starter Girls Podcast.
That's amazing. Welcome.
Super excited to have you here at Starter Girls. And I know Brianna and I've got a lot of questions we want to ask you. So what we want to do, let's get this kicked off and started. I want you to tell us, because our listeners are going to be like, okay, what is this serial entrepreneur and this thing, this title we got up there for you? Tell us a little bit about what it is that you do exactly and who are the people that you are helping.
Yeah, absolutely. So a serial entrepreneur, meaning that I'm in lots of different industries. I have one main focus, I guess I would say, going forward, but up until this point, I've been in real estate, multifamily, single family, short-term rentals. A lot of stuff going on over there in that world. I'm in retail franchising. And so we own several edible arrangements franchises, 3 states, about 50 employees. We just came off of a record-breaking Valentine's Day. It's literally the craziest day of the year for us. And so we go nuts with fruit, chocolate-covered fruit. We got brownies and cheesecakes and all kinds of fun stuff now too. So that's all that right there. And then the main focus, the Becoming Bulletproof title that you slightly mentioned there, is my Bulletproof coaching business really helps entrepreneurs be able to scale with pillars under business, sales, and leadership. And so those are the 3 things that we help people do in order to then scale their businesses, because we feel like they're the most important. So we work with entrepreneurs and salespeople all day long, helping them grow, make more money, and reach for more.
Killer. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, and I was reading in your bio too, talking about this franchise, because like I said, I was going through all your notes in there and like, okay, we could have spent a while really reading this bio if we had put everything on there. But I saw this, that you were like, correct me if I'm wrong, the youngest franchise owner in this particular franchise. Am I correct?
I don't know if I was ever dubbed the youngest. I bought my first and second when I was 24 and then turning 25 that year. And then I do know that as far as I was the youngest that had as many locations that I did. So I think I had 7 locations at the age of 29. So still in my 20s, obviously multiple states. Most people that had that many were just older.
I like that. You figure by then they got it figured out, right? Definitely you're doing something there to be that age and to be able to maximize that. I think that is a gift. It's like, is that called a maximizer?
I know. You just read my mind because that's all I could think about, through your bio, through everything. I was like, man, this guy is an extreme maximizer. And in fact, I was going to ask you, have you done your strength? Is that your number one strength is maximizing? Strategy's got to be up there too.
Yeah, I was gonna say strategy, maximizing. I think actually maximizing somewhere is in that bio, somewhere on the website. But yeah, you're 100% right. Like reaching for more and then more again and then more again, efficiently reaching again and efficiently reaching again and again. Yes, absolutely. Yes. It's in
Looking
the
at it
DNA.
and going, okay, I'm going to pull this out. I'm going to pull this out. It's all there.
Yep.
It's great.
Yep.
Very cool.
Yep, exactly. Kind of a unique opportunity with skill sets to be able to see the vision. You guys were talking about earlier how you guys work together. One's kind of having seen the vision, and then the other being able to provide the strategy or the detail, the plan. And that's really where I feel like the skill set of my history kind of merges together. Is that I've been able to see the bigger picture, have the big plans, dream and lead, be able to build the machine along the way. And then obviously help other people do the same thing, which is really fulfilling.
Yeah, of course. That's amazing.
Yeah, I almost think it's a gift to be able to do that, because I know as a visionary, that sometimes is one of the things that I struggle with, because I can always see the big picture. I can't always see the pieces that go into it. And I've talked about this several times, even when I'm working with this, I've shared this with Brianna, we've talked about planning things. It's like, I will look at steps and I see so many steps and then I just get overwhelmed. I look at that and go, okay, I need Cliff Note version of that. Like, you need to give me 1, 2, and 3. Beyond that, like, I'm just done. Like, I need a person to fill those other pieces. But I think that's a gift to be able to see the vision and then be able to strategize towards that. That's powerful.
And then execute it.
100%.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
So
the executor portion of it.
Yeah. So you've got these franchises, and I also read in your bio that you've received several awards, like you were published in a magazine. Am I correct? Tell us a little bit about those things that you had going on there.
Yeah, so the awards and publications have mostly been around my sales career and also edible. And so with edible arrangements, obviously there's been some awards within the system that I've won: franchisee or rookie franchisee of the year, my first year at 24 years old, buying a couple locations, big locations. I did over $1 million my first year in sales, and then beyond that, like, recognition in the sales world. I was a top producer, won many awards that way. Top sales manager, eventually was recruited by Grant Cardone and his team to help build a sales team and an ad agency for him and Frank Kern. And so a lot of publication around building a business and then the sales success that I've seen. But, I guess what I want to be known for, in whether it be a publication or an award or anything, is really just excellence. It's really, being able to come to the table, and when Chaz Wolfe is written down, it's like, oh, it's done. Like,
bam,
it's over. Like, just stamp. Just make sure that when the name is associated, or my business or my team is associated to it, it's just absolutely done, and done with excellence.
Yeah. Wow.
That's great. Hey, I have a question. I want to jump in on this. Now, I was listening to a previous podcast of yours, and I want to hear all about, is it DOT?
DOT, yeah, okay. Discipline of thought, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I want you to share, because it was cool. I was like, oh, but it's something that you've carried, like, through your careers, through your past lives, right, in business.
Yeah,
and it's taken you still to today. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I guess the premise of DOT is just mindset, right? We talked about this a little bit before the show. Just mindset is the beginning before you take any action, typically. Although sometimes you can take action and then you can kind of work into the mindset. Mindset is just so important for success. And so this was not my idea. I can't necessarily take credit for it, but when I was new in cold calling, there was this thing on the wall, and I've even gone back to ask my original sales manager from years and years ago, where did you find this? Who came up with this? And there's no source. And so I'm not going to steal it, but at the same time, I'm going to use it, So we had this thing on the wall. It said DOT. It was like a bullseye, had DOT in it. And anytime that there was any sort of negative action, whether it be I got off of a cold call and just was frustrated, or I didn't close the deal that I thought I was going to close, or, there's just things that happen in business and in sales, especially when you're talking to people all day long, and frustration. And so it was like an environment around the team of, like, when something negative happened, it was like, no, hit the DOT sign. And so you literally, like we were shamed almost into getting up out of our cubicle in our seat, walking over and, slapping the wall and being like, all right, DOT, like discipline of thought. And it was just a reminder, obviously a physical and mental reminder to just like, hey, snap out of it. It's not worth it. Hop back on the next call. Go get what it is that you want. And so anyway, I've got it associated with some of my logo and stuff now, just because the mentality makes perfect sense. It's the discipline of thought. It's your thought that's going to lead you really into anything that you're doing, whether it be business or a podcast or, the teams that I've built or my family. Like my mindset around my family has got to be bulletproof, right? And so that it kind of goes back even to my bulletproof coaching and this becoming bulletproof, this idea of, whether you're wearing a bulletproof vest or whatever, it's not that you're perfect. It's not that you're trying to become perfect. So I'm not trying to become a perfect husband or a perfect dad or perfect business owner or whatever, but I want to be able to strive for greatness. And so that for us is that equivalent, keeping your mindset right and becoming great, becoming bulletproof.
Incredible. Okay, so I have a question for you because you mentioned earlier Grant Cardone, and I'm familiar with Grant Cardone. Are you familiar with Grant Cardone? He's amazing. Okay. So tell us a little bit about that. Did you get to work with him personally?
Yeah.
I want you to fill us in on this a little bit.
Yeah. So I worked at the 10X headquarters. I told you I live in Kansas City. So I moved my entire family, my wife, my 3 children. My wife had just given birth, like 6 weeks before when we moved from Kansas City to Miami. So I worked in the 10X headquarters, lived right there in Miami. That experience was amazing. But as far as the 10X headquarters go, it was exactly how they show it on some of the videos, like hustle all day long. You see the meetings. We do them like ritually every morning. It's hilarious in the morning meeting. Tuesday is reportedly or statistically the best sales day. And so at the end of every morning meeting, each morning, there's a little bit of a chant, and basically it ends with, what day is it? Tuesday. And like the whole entire company yells Tuesday. And so it was really weird coming from Kansas City, knowing that we have seasons, like fall and winter and summer and spring. And then going there in Miami, it's like 70 to 100 all the time, like tropical all the time. And then at the same time, every single day at work, we were saying it was Tuesday every day, and the weather wasn't changing. And it was just really like this. I was on the Truman Show or something. It was really weird. But from an angle of working with Grant, yes, I got to get into his office a couple of times, got some time with him. I got to work with Frank Kern every single day. So more time with Frank than Grant. Grant spent a lot of time in his jet flying around the world, promoting 10X, which is obviously what he does best. But the culture there is obviously just exactly how they explain it. Like everybody's hustling, working their tail off. I had sales reps on my team that would, make calls on the Pacific, end until, on the East Coast, it was like 10, 11 o'clock at night, but it was only like 8 o'clock at night Pacific. And so they would just grind all the time, which was exactly what I loved about 10X to begin with. I've just been a grinder and an executor and a push to the ends, have these huge goals and just freaking go after them. So it was an amazing experience.
Wow.
Yeah, you have to check out Grant.
In fact, actually, if you'll allow me to give a quick shout out, Jared Glant. Jared Glant is the president of Cardone Enterprises. And that's actually why I went to go work there. And so Jared and I had got connected on a couple different things before, about a year and a half before. And we just stayed in contact and we knew that we were going to do something together. And I wasn't the typical person that they were trying to recruit for sales. Like I just already had a ton of success in sales and also in my own businesses. And so him and we were going to work together in some capacity. We were just kind of waiting for the right experience. But I went there not necessarily to work for Grant. I love Grant. Grant's stuff has helped me immensely. And Frank too. But I went there to work with Jared. And unfortunately, that was what was sad about not being able to be there anymore. Frank and Grant went their own ways and the agency had dissolved and stuff like that. And so Jared is going places. And if you don't follow him on social media, he's not huge on it because obviously Grant is, but Jared is a stud. And I would take the chance to partner with him again. That's for sure.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. We'll be sure to check that out. That's awesome. So yeah, very cool. I'm just listening to all of this, and there's so much here. I would want to ask, I guess maybe a question for somebody because again, going back to the strategy piece, I've done cold calling, so I absolutely get that. I know strategy behind that. In fact, I've talked to people in business about that before. Definitely, you got to have a bulletproof mindset to get through that for sure.
That's right.
If somebody, what would be something that you would advise to somebody, and I'm just talking from an entrepreneur space, maybe somebody just starting out on a business idea. Is there any one piece of advice that you would offer them in that beginning stage?
Absolutely. And there's actually, I mean, there's so many things. You guys were just talking about putting on an event, right? And I guess the place there, unfortunately, is that there's so many things that they really need to do, but there's only a few things that they can do. And so I guess what I would say from like a simplistic standpoint is think about what it is that you do. Like really, really, really. I know that sounds almost like elementary, but what it is that your offer is really, what's your service, what's your product, and then how does that associate to who you're going after? Like, what is the person that you're helping? Who is the person? What are they doing? What's their struggle? And I know we talk about these things in marketing forums and who's your avatar, and it's really elementary, but it's not. You cannot build a business. And I've even realized that as I've then grown new businesses, and it's like, oh man, I know this, but I can't zoom past this part. I have to really hone in on who is it that I help and why am I helping them? How am I helping them? What am I helping them to achieve? And so I would say that anybody who's thinking about something, or they're going to launch, or maybe they've just launched and they're just kind of like getting their wheels started and maybe even frustrated. It's not about hiring a team. It's not about, doing $1 million. It's about you realizing, okay, what do I have? Who do I help? And how do I put them together often? Right? Where do I find them? For me, how do I find new clients? How do I do sales calls? Repeat. How do I find new clients? How do I do sales calls? How do I and repeat, right? And how do I get my team to do that? Mm-hmm. And so those are the only two things that matter really in business. It's you got to go get revenue. You got to go get sales. And so in order to do that, you got to figure out what your stuff is, like for real, like all the way down to the bare bones, who it is that you're helping, and then just go connect those two as often as you possibly can.
It's good. We talk about that.
Absolutely.
That is the hardest part. Don't you agree a lot of times? Because we've had that conversation.
Lead generation.
Mm-hmm. And who is your market? What's your niche, and who are you targeting?
Yeah.
And that is a tricky thing for a lot of people, because they'll have an idea that they want to do, but they don't really know who their audience is. Like, who are they reaching to?
I talk to people especially I've been actually on a ton of sales calls this week. And that is like one of the biggest questions that they grapple with is like, I ask them, well, so who are your people? Who are you serving? They don't know because they've never taken the time to ask themselves the difficult questions and to actually dig in and uncover it.
Yeah.
Why
is that,
way.
Brianna?
I mean, I think that for my clients, they're creatives and they just want to create. They want to do the fun stuff. The other stuff is more like, if we talk about, even though they have a product, that's the sales/marketing side, which feels icky to them because they're creators. So they just want to create, right? They want to keep things in that realm. Fun. Yeah, fun. And this other stuff is work.
Yes.
Yep.
And I can
the coach wants to coach.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. The coach wants to coach. The electrician wants to do electrical jobs. They just want to do the business. And it's like, well, in order to do the business, you got to go be a business. And sales and marketing is like that's how you grow a business. It's not about necessarily the logo. It's not necessarily about a fancy thing or group or it's about you offering a service, finding out who you offer it to, and then literally just connecting those two, like being obsessed with that process, whatever that process is for your business, and then letting the rest figure it out later. You can get caught in the analyzation or the building of courses or coaching or right.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Well, and the thing that's coming to mind, because I think, Chaz, even though we're in different things, I think you and I are similar in that we've built teams. We've had to work with people in organizations and build them. And I think one of the things that we used to talk about, I no longer do that, but one of the things we used to talk about was that as an entrepreneur, and you guys, we've touched upon that just in this conversation, is that you wear many hats. Because like you said, the fun part is doing what we love to do. It's the gift that we have, whether it's talking or coaching or whatever that is, right? But you're right. There's all those little pieces behind it. You've got to be a CEO. You've got to be the marketer. You've got to be the CFO, right? You got to have all these pieces. And until you build that up and you get to a place where you can say, okay, now I can start pulling in some help, finding some people on my team that can maybe take over some of those pieces. That's when you get the real win, I think, is when you can start delegating.
That's right.
And working together. But you're right. You have to have all those pieces. And you're right. The creator, I'm a creator, so I can get that. I just want to have fun. Like, I just want to do my creating, And when it gets to all that other stuff, I'm like, help.
It's tough. It's
I don't
tough.
lie.
Yep.
I don't lie.
Exactly. Well, and we all have those things. In fact, I was just talking with another podcaster just last week about this, and he's like, "Man, how do we, other than just the idea of just go do it, like rather than telling someone just go do it, right? Which that's not what I was necessarily saying, but he's like, how do we get past that? Like in our mind, like I understand what you're saying. There's things I got to do that maybe I don't want to do, but how do I do that? It's like, well, it's all connected to what you want, right? So when you decide first what you want, you reverse engineer the process. We talked about that strategy. And then you've already predetermined what it is that you have to do. The things that you like to do, the things that you don't like to do. It doesn't matter at that point. It's just something that you have to do in order to get what you want. And so it no longer becomes about like having joy in it necessarily of like, I like to do this more, or I don't like to do this more, or I'm scared to make cold calls, or whatever the thing is. You just go after it with everything that you are because you want what you want. And you've already, created the strategy to go get it.
Bam. It's the why.
Absolutely.
I love it.
I have one more
Purposeful.
question for you.
Yeah.
So I know leadership is very, very important to you, but I think I also saw a quote, something about, life's too short. It wasn't like this, but life's too short to have crappy leadership, or, that you've been on both sides of the spectrum and not to, help me out with this, but you are like very vocal about don't have a crappy leader.
Yes, and I agree. Leadership is important.
Yes.
It is. Not well, here's actually the underneath factor of what's probably the most important. It's personal responsibility, right? And so whether you are the leader and you're taking personal responsibility for your business or for your team or your department or whatever, right? Or if you're the person that's being led, it's still your personal responsibility to make sure that you're getting what you need, right? And so that's what I guess I'm meaning by that is I've been on both sides of the coin where I've had someone who's inspired me, who's not just been inspiration, but who's dug out of me the depths of who I am, or gotten more out of me, gotten more production out of me, or gotten a greater percentage of effort out of me, or production or result. I mean, and then there's the other where it's just like, I love what I do, but I hate who I do it for. So I can't even right now, like I'm just so gridlocked in my offense or in my emotion because of my leader or lack thereof. Right. So either way, it's personal responsibility that you have to take to for your environment, whether it's, someone who is leading you directly or someone who's over the company, maybe it's the owner. You either need to figure that out for you to be able to service the things that you are supposed to do, and get connected to a different coach or a mentor, or find a different person in the organization, or find a different organization altogether. But it's your responsibility to make sure that you've got someone in your life that's literally pulling everything out of you. Because if you don't have that, then you're mediocre, you're average. You can't get there without the external extraction, right? And that's where leadership, coaching, helping someone, come through something or out of something is so beneficial to so many people in many different ways. But you have to have that in your life. Otherwise, it's hard to get there because it's just you. You don't have anybody else prodding you along.
Yeah. This is going to lead me into my next question. I want to ask you one final question before we move into rapid fire. You said something in there, which was good because I was going to ask this question. What do you love about what you do? What's the best part of all this for you? Yeah.
Well, so for me, becoming Bulletproof is like it's a part of turning your struggle into your story. And so the struggle into story is you get to see a victory. You get to get the result. You get to get what you want. You get to be happy or fulfillment or joy. You get the end result. And sometimes that's part of the process though, right? It's not just like an end destination. For me, growing up single mom family, literally having nothing given to me, I've always had to just go, okay, well, if I want it, I gotta have to go get it. And so there's so many people in this life that are average or don't know how to go get more, or even worse, have the victim mentality and they feel like they can't go get more because of external circumstances or where they were in life or what they were told or part of their family or what they were given or not given or color of their skin or whatever. And so it's like in those moments, I want to be able to take my story of where I've come from and be like, no. Like, not that none of that matters, but what matters more is you and what you're doing and where your mindset is and what it is that you want out of life. And when you determine those things, really the other things don't matter. I understand that they're circumstantial, right? Same thing for me. there are certain things that I have, or maybe certain ways that I am because of the way that I was grown up or the cards that I was dealt. But we can all use those either against us or in our favor. And so that's my message is, man, when I can see someone come through some of that, it's just like, wow, that's completely fulfilling. Plus, I want to just leave my family legacy, my children, my grandchildren. I want them just to be like, man, freaking Grandpa Wolfe was just a freaking stud.
There it is.
He was a boss.
Bam. That's it. That's what I wanted to hear, Chaz.
That's the
right
legacy right there.
Legacy, baby.
That's the question.
A stud.
That's right. We don't get to ask that question near enough, but I had to ask you that question today because this has been like totally all serious. Like I had wanted to ask that because I knew your background. I read your bio and through PodMax, I heard a little bit about you. So thank you for sharing that with us. And I agree with you 100%. There's something powerful about coming from this side, taking those cards that you were dealt and flipping that switch, coming over here and bam. Powerful.
When you have that realization, or better yet for me, when I'm able to give, or that gift almost of helping someone else have that realization, it literally is like taking the cap off and they can see the world in a completely new way. And it's not so much of I did something for them. They've now done something for themselves that will literally change the rest of their life. And then now their legacy, their children and their grandchildren, because they're not going to see their results or lack thereof as like something that happened to them, but rather something that they, created, or something that they did,
I'm thinking butterfly effect right now. Bam.
No, it's
so
beautiful.
Awesome.
Thanks for sharing that.
Absolutely. This is so good. We got to do some rapid fire. Like we could keep talking about this for a while.
Let's go.
Good. All right, let's do a few rapid fire fun questions. You want to start or you want me to start today?
I'm going to start.
All right, go for it.
Are you a Hawaiian pizza guy or a meat lovers?
Meat lovers. Heck to the no on the Hawaiian. Heck to the no.
That was good. I'm with you on that one too. My son had a pineapple pizza the other day, and I went in there and I'm like, "Oh, I want to look at your pizza. What's on that?" And I said, "Never mind. You got pineapple on it."
Nope. Here's a fun fact. So I own Edible Arrangements or franchises. I'm not the franchisor, right? But I don't really care for fruit, so that's why I don't like that pizza, is because there's fruit on it.
I do like pineapple. I just can't get the whole pizza pineapple thing. It just doesn't jive with
more
me.
More
those
Hawaiian
are two textures and two flavors that should be apart.
All right, so I'm going to ask you, because I know you're kind of into personal development and all that good stuff. What are you reading right now? What book you got right now going on?
Well, I've got a couple. So what I'm reading right now is The Prosperous Coach. And then what I'm listening to right now is Letters from a Self-Made Merchant to His Son. That it's like based in like the 1890 something or other. So yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. We need to compile every time I don't ask this question all the time. I ask it when I know I'm dealing with somebody in personal development, because we're compiling a list of books. We hear from you guys. We'd be like, oh, we need to check that book out. I haven't heard that one yet. I need to check it out. So thanks for sharing that.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
Okay. We need one more. I got to think of one more.
Besides the last question?
Yeah. Well, I was trying to, but let's do this. I do have a fun one. I got a fun one. If you were, I haven't asked this in a long time. It's good. If you were stuck on a deserted island and you could only, now you got your food. Now you can eat.
Okay.
But what's the one thing you'd bring with you?
This was on your sheet, and I literally thought about this.
I don't ever ask it anymore.
Dang it. I hope they don't ask this question.
Bam. Okay.
So initially my thoughts go, because I'm a big game hunter. So my dad and I go elk hunting every year. We literally go to the wilderness. I take a bow and some arrows and my pack, and we go 100 miles over 10 days roughly, and we hunt elk. So immediately my mind goes to survival. What would I need to do for shelter and food and warmth? The other half of my brain was like, well, if I had a phone and a charger, I could probably still do my businesses. So that would probably be all right.
The sign of a true entrepreneur.
I run my businesses.
Those were actually really both good. I'm impressed with the bow and arrow thing. So awesome for you.
Go.
Awesome. All right. I guess one last question we do need to ask you. We're going to ask you the superhero question because we like this one. So if you could be any superhero or character for a day, what would you pick?
Oh my goodness. I think Superman, and the reason why is because in one glimpse he changes the world or saves the world, but everybody else doesn't really know. Like during the day, it's like undercover, and it's just a normal guy. And that's really how I feel about myself. I don't want to shout from the mountaintops about my success. I don't want to necessarily draw attention to myself. I know that those things are necessary. That's why I'm on a podcast, right? But at the same time, I want people to know that, you know, humility is such a virtue to have and to help people genuinely. And so I think that's why I would choose Superman, because I think that he has those things, or at least from the persona of switching into someone else.
And it kind of, the whole becoming bulletproof kind of makes me feel like Superman.
He's
right?
gonna
There
have
you
like
go.
a Superman
Perfect.
suit with,
I
you know,
know.
becoming bulletproof on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Right there. Just like that. I love it.
Exactly.
You need some merch.
I know.
Awesome. Awesome. Very good. Well, this has been fun, Chaz. It's been awesome.
So tell us
Yes.
where people can find you on social medias, websites, etc. Like, how can people get in touch or, you know, follow your journey?
Absolutely. My website, chazwolfe.com, ChazWolfe.com. And of course, on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, you can find me there. We love to put out quality content that helps people think differently and move forward. And then, of course, all of our coaching programs, whether it be in sales or entrepreneurship or leadership, help people move forward in those different areas. And there's lots of different things that might go into that. And people might be stuck at different places or just want more. And we like helping those people.
All right. Thanks for sharing that. We'll be sure too, when this goes out, that we get it all connected and get all the website, you know, and tag
Perfect.
you wherever we need to. So we do want to say thank you for being on here. You're incredible. Love what you're doing.
Yeah.
Keep doing your thing. Keep doing it.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. You guys have been amazing. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And with that, we do want to tell our listeners, of course, if you enjoy our podcast, please be sure you give us a rating on both Facebook and iTunes and hit that subscribe button on the YouTube. And with that, we got one more thing we got to mention.
Yes. Don't forget to head over to startergirlswithaz.com to pick up your free gift. And we have our first Starter Girls event of the year on March 25th. You're going to go to found.ee/M2E. Mindset to execution. We're going to help you grab those ideas and make them a reality. Let's go.
Yes, exciting. All right, we want to leave you guys with a couple final thoughts. You have to be burning with an idea or a problem or a wrong that you want to right. If you're not passionate enough from the start, you'll never stick it out. Guess who that's by? Steve Jobs.
Let's go.
One of my favorite people. All right, and with that, you guys, in order to begin something, you have to make a decision. Or excuse me, in order to start, you have to make a decision. All right, you guys take care, be safe, and be kind to one another. We'll see you next time.